Well, hello. My name's Penny. I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete and my 4 chickens, and you're more than welcome. Thank you for joining me again, or if you're a new viewer, thank you for finding me and joining. It's a pleasure to have you along with me. It's just a chinwag. I say just a chinwag. It started out as just a chinwag with me showing you some things I'd made in the past. I've been making things since I was young, and well, now I'm not quite so young. But I started off showing you some things, and of course it's grown and grown. And some people are watching from episode 1, and they're going all through. And I thought to myself today, it must be like watching a child grow up all in one go, because that's what Chinwag feels like to me. It's almost like, it grows with each episode. It grows and changes. And at the moment, I have a little chat in the beginning. I tell you a fascinating fact that I found. This week it's about the fly again. We had, I can't tell you, yesterday, loads of those big black flies. They all flew in. We had 2 dozen in the kitchen, 2 dozen in the porch. Well, everywhere. Pete said, I'm spraying. Pete's my husband. I'm spraying. I said, oh, don't, because the windows will get dirty. Anyway, he said, I'm doing it. He sprayed, and they all, it's a shame. It's such a shame. But we couldn't have all these great big black fly. They obviously come over from the fields. And not a fly today. I mean, they must have smelt it. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes. I did a fascinating fact about the fly's halt hair. And Anita said that her grandson was really scared of flies. But after watching that, they're like 2 drumsticks if you watched my fascinating fact. And she said he's now following them around, watching for the drumsticks. So here's another fascinating fact for him about the fly. And I must say I didn't like spraying them, but when you have, 2 dozen of them flying around in the kitchen, you just have to. Self-preservation. And then, oh yes, I've been round to Mum's again. We're on a roll at the minute. Sometimes you don't see Mum for a few weeks, but we're on a roll with her history bit. And we're doing 1947. My dad was away in the Air Force, and so I felt sorry for Mum. She's on her own. Her dad got married at the beginning of 1946. They were newly married, and so she didn't see too much of them. So I felt for her, but Mum gets through things, and she's a tough old nut. We went to the hospital this week because my mum, all she could see was the A on the list. What can you see? The A. And they say, yes, the next line down, love. No, I can't see the next line down. Oh. Anyway, we waited 3 hours to see all these different people. But, we didn't mind a jot because we just sat there, and you sit in the corridor, and we didn't stop jawing. We always find things to talk about, so it is a joy to go there with her. Her appointment was 5:30. I think we got home about 8 o'clock, but fortunately it's not too far away. Mind you, we were both tired. I felt myself nodding off, and I'm not a nodder offer. Some people are a nodder offer, aren't they? Pete's a nodder offer. You look round and he's gone. I'm not like that, but I must admit, I did sit there and I said, it was about 9 o'clock, and I said, I think I've got to go up. Anyway, that's all by the by. So Mum does 1947. Oh, thank you for all your messages. They're so lovely. I know quite a few of you messaged after hearing the siren that I put up last week. It was very emotional, even though we weren't around to hear it, many of us. Oh, birds are singing. It's a beautiful day here. We went out for a walk. We went out down the beach at 7:30. And I didn't need a little film this week because Mum, she plays us out. She was chatting about, oh yes, it was the hit of 1947. Shall I tell you that bit later on? Anyway, the weather in the southeast, we've had no rain yet. it's, well, you can see it, it's just beautiful. Lovely and warm, no wind. And this morning it was just, well, we were so hot. Pete said, you won't need that jacket. Certainly didn't. So we're just enjoying these last days of summer. It's really gorgeous. So, oh yeah, so then there's a little film at the end. So shall I start with my crafting chat? I want to start, well, first of all, can you see him? That's the sloth, Edward. He's on the quilts there. Great big, those quilts, there's a pile of them from the floor up. And there he is with his 2 slippers on. He just loves it. He listens to all the chat that goes on the sofa here. Yeah. They're all looking into Tommy's cot because the cot's just there. So I didn't get a film of him this week. Usually I do. He came on Wednesday, but do you know what? He's found how to cuddle. I mean, you cuddle babies, don't you? But he's cuddling back now. So most of the time he sat in his cot for about 20 minutes and played. Oh, he looks up at these guys. He loves them. And then he sat on my lap, well, for quite 3/4 of an hour, just talking to me, you know. Just being happy, jigging up and down. And then he snuggled his neck. He snuggled his head into my neck, cuddling. He knows he's cuddling now. So it was a joy, absolute joy having him on Wednesday. So I didn't get any filming. I was too busy cuddling him. But my daughter has had a beach hut down on the beach for a fortnight. And Tommy's come over with his mum, Lois, my granddaughter. And there's an open-air bus that comes from their house to here. And I've put a couple of pictures up here of him on the top of the open-air bus. When you're a great-grandma, you want to say, sit down, hold his hand. But, you know, I'm glad it's, oh dear, I can't imagine him getting upstairs on an open-air bus. Perhaps it's starting before you've sat down with a baby. But, yeah, when you're young, you can do it, can't you? So, oh yes, I'm making a quilt for my new great-grandchild. I don't know yet, male or female, but I'm not letting that worry me. And I'm doing a design with 10 squares on point that are plain. And then next time I see you, I'll show you how we make up the other 10 squares. Because I think it's going to be 20 squares. Haven't got the design down here. I've just got the fabric I cut out. Here it is. Hope you can see it. So this is one. And can you see? That's a 10.5-inch square. So that's the first job. To cut a 10.5-inch square, but with the straight line going down the middle. So you can see it's going to be what we call in the quilting world on point. So that's one piece. And here's another piece. I found this because I made a bag from it. I thought, well, that'll go nicely. I'll use that. So believe it or not, that is on point because I went with this one here. So there, that's on point. But the other, you know, it's just one of those fabrics, isn't it? So that's another one. And here's another one. So I centralised the bunny here. So I'm going to cut out 10 of those. And then next time, oh, the sun's going in and out. Next time, I'll show you the other square that we're going to put together with this. And I'll talk about what to cut out for that. So, slow steps, but we'll get there in the end. So 10.5 cut with the design going straight down the middle. So it's like a diamond, isn't it? Okay, so that's shown you that. My sock. Oh, Who wouldn't love that? Well, unless you don't like warm things on your legs. It's knitted up beautifully. Grand. It's and I just washed it. What I do is I just lay them on the side of the bath over the clean bath mat or a towel, and it's dried. Oh, it's so soft, it's so comfortable. I can't praise it enough. I really can't. Thank you so much, Angela. And she has Yarn and Yarns, Angela I got it from, and she has a lot of colour. I think she said she's got about 8 colours, so I know Pete wants some. Now, it comes in 2 50-gram balls. This is the other 50-gram ball, and they're absolutely identical. So you can see I've started and it is identical, which I really like. No fiddling about, it's there. And right, I started off with 92 stitches because that was what I needed to sit comfortably on my calf. I then decreased every 4 rows, I decreased 2. I slip SSK on that side and knitted 2 together on that side with a plain knit 2 in the middle. Then I got to about there, which is where I am now on my other sock, and I did it every 3 rows. And that brings me down to there then. And then I knitted 60 because I like 60 stitches on that part of my leg. Well, how long then to knit? I didn't know. So what I did, I knitted the whole to the toe and I had 5 grams over. So I undid it to the heel. Didn't take me long. It was worth doing. I've now got my perfect recipe. And I weighed the yarn. Oh, can you hear my chickens? I'll go up and see them in a minute. I weighed my yarn and 18 grams from the heel to the toe, and I had 5 grams over. So what I did was I carried on knitting with that 5 grams, and then when I had 18 grams left, I knitted the foot. And I'll put a picture up here of how much wool I had left. Well, 2 inches. That's all I had left. And so I used every single scrap, and I feel so pleased because none left over. Fits like a glove. It's so oh, I should be knitting these. Talk about keep you warm. And they'll fit in my walking shoes lovely because they're fine. I'm so pleased with them. So there we are. It was worth undoing that to find the recipe. 18 grams from my heel I need, because I looked at a toe up and I should do it. I will. I'll have a practice, but I didn't fancy doing it. So I needed to know exactly when to stop, and it worked. So that's my sock. And here I am with my next one. So I've got down to the, with 92 stitches round there, what I did was I cast on straight needles and I knitted 2 rows. And then I just sew that up very neatly. You just can't see it. And it's a good place to know where I am. That's where I start my SSK, that side of that ring. Then I knit 2, then I knit 2 together, and every 3 rows now I'm going down till I've done 60. So I'll have a lovely pair of socks. Hopefully next time I'll be able to show you the pair. But I'm not going to rush. There's no rush. I'm not going to be anytime soon wearing a long pair of socks. So that's lovely just to have. I took those to the hospital when I was with Mum and just had it there to knit. So I love that. Then, of course, I have been making the macarons, as you know, and I've made 2 more. I haven't put the zips round yet, But I showed you the little drawing of the watering can. So I've done that. See what you think. There it is with some little bees. It's not perfect, but I don't think the embroidery police are going to come round and arrest me. And here it is. That's the other side. Oops. That's the other. See how I gather it together? That's the other side of it. A Liberty Tarna lawn. So that's going to be that with a blue zip. And then I did this one. Yeah. And that's a tilde. I don't think I'll ever stop doing these. They're just lovely to just a little, doesn't take too long. It's a lovely little project. That's what else I've been doing this week. She wanted her shoes. She's got a nice T-bar shoe. What she really wants is the ballet shoes and the ballet dress. I know you do, Maisie. I know, but you do look beautiful. She's got such a character. Well, what do you think? Yes, they're not her favourite, but we'll get there in the end. Maybe over the winter, eh? Yeah, maybe over the winter she'll get her ballet dress. But the chimpanzees, well, he's in the bag ready to be started, so we'll see what comes of that. But the T-bar shoes are so cute. They fit her beautifully. There we are. Yeah, she's happy. She's a pig, and she does what pigs do, don't you? Well, actually, she's everybody's friend. And I wondered why I loved pigs so much. And when I was looking through Mum's photos, I came across a picture of me with my aunt down in Cornwall. And, oh, that reminds me. I must say hello to my other aunt who's in Ireland, Anne. She's staying with my cousin, her son, in, I think it's North Carolina. I'm going to put it on the screen. I've left the piece of paper upstairs where he lives. So I'd like to say hello to all of you out there. She's gone there for the week. North Carolina. It begins with W, but anyway, I'll put it on the screen. So hello to you. But I saw a photo of myself down in Cornwall with my Aunt Em. And what is she walking me through but this field with a mummy pig and all the baby piglets? And that's probably where my love of pigs started. Funny, isn't it? You look back and you see that. So Maisie is one of my favourites. But she's a great friend to everyone, aren't you? So on that note, I'm going to leave you with the fascinating fact, and I'll see you the other side of that. While visiting a museum, a scientist saw pictures of an extinct fly preserved in amber, says a report in New Scientist magazine. He noticed a series of gratings on the insect's eyes and suspected that these might have helped the fly's eyes to capture more light, especially at very oblique angles. He and other researchers began conducting experiments and confirmed their hunch. They soon made plans to try to etch the same pattern of gratings onto the glass of solar panels. This, they hope, will increase the energy generated by solar panels. It might also eliminate the need for the costly tracking systems presently required to keep solar panels pointed at the sun. Better solar panels may mean less fossil fuel use and thus less pollution, a worthy goal. Clearly, discoveries like this one help us to appreciate that nature is a veritable motherlode of brilliant designs just waiting to be found, understood, and where possible, copied in useful ways. Many of our best inventions are copied from or already in use by other living things, says Phil Gates from Wild Technology. That's interesting, isn't it? And I learnt a new word this week from that. I love learning new words. Whether I can remember them or not, it's another thing. But I can remember this one, mother lode. I said to Pete, have you heard of mother lode? He said, only in mining. It's where they find a big, load of, what's it called, gold or what they're looking for. And yes, a mother lode. And so a mother lode of nature, I think it said. But how interesting. In other words, a tremendous amount. We've hit the jackpot with looking for this. And certainly with all of that creation out there, we have hit the jackpot, haven't we? Because we're only looking at the fly's eyes and we can see how man wants to copy it. Anyway, that was my new word, mother lode. So I'm going to introduce Mum now. You'll have to notice the deliberate mistake with Mum, because I went round there, did the little film, super, came back, watched it back, and realised I hadn't forgotten to put in that earring. So I've just got one earring in, but so you'll have to forgive that. And then it was totally off the cuff, because what happened was the hit of 1947 was I Love London Town. But when you sing it, it's I Love London So. Pete put us right. I said, oh, we forgot the words. He said, no, it's not London Town. You have to sing so. That goes with go. Oh, so of course I looked it up, and it was written in 1944 by a chap who was just walking through London. He loved his London town, and he was just walking through London as the doodlebugs were being, all over, and the bombs, and he just wrote that song, and it became the number one, if you like, the hit of 1947, funnily enough. And so it's I Love London So, and then go. And at the end, it's London Town. So, of course, I said, can you play it then, Mum? Oh, yes, I used to play that, everybody's singing in the pub. But, of course, I always play in the key of F. So she said, can you sing it in the key of F? Well, I can't sing anyway. I'm not a singer. But Mum's the singer. I mean, her voice, as I've said before, it's like an angel's. But anyway, as she's playing it, I sang along. So I can honestly say to you, I never thought that I would be singing I Love London Town and putting it up on YouTube in a million years. But that's what you've got this week. And then after that, I put up just this morning, just a little bit from our walk. I don't want to bore you with the sea, but I know so many of you say we live miles from the sea. And of course, we walk down there into town and back every morning, and it does us the world of good, actually. So we've made a resolve we've made a resolve that even if it's raining, we're going to go. We're going to put on our waterproofs and still do it. So watch this space to see if we do, because we haven't had any rain since June. So it's an easy thing to say, isn't it? But we'll see. So it's just a little film of our walk, a little bit of our walk this morning. So that's it, really. That's another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I never know what I'm going to say, really, till I say it. But it's lovely being with you, spending time with you. And I'll see you next time. So take care. Happy crafting if you're a crafter. If not, enjoy doing what you're doing. And enjoy these last days of summer. I know for some of you, it's spring, isn't it? This YouTube, it takes some getting used to. So I'll say cheerio. Bye. Well, hello.
Hello, darling. Morning.
Morning. Yes. So we're going through 1947. And do you know what? There's so much war, Mum.
Oh.
War. I know it's not World War II, but there's so many wars going on in the world.
That World War II finished, but there was lots of other wars going on.
It must have been still a worrying time for you. Yes. And so January 47, we've got the troops. Servicemen have been called in to maintain essential supplies as much of Britain faces a meatless weekend and growing shortages of other foodstuffs, because we've got this docker strike. Do you remember?
Yes.
All butchers were sold out last night. We got Labour nationalises Britain's coal mines. That caused quite a big problem for the coal getting to you, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
So here you got food, a struggle to get to you. And now I know the coal has a struggle to get to you. And it says here, once again, Britain's tightened their belts today as the fresh meat ration was reduced from 1 shilling and twopence to 1 shilling. The only compensation was an increase in the allowance of corned beef. Gloomy review, it says. No increases in supplies of bacon, eggs or fish. Small increase in the butter and sugar rations. Wheat stocks were uncomfortably low. And one result is an immediate cut in beer production. So, tough times here, Mum. I don't suppose you saw Dad in January, because it says here the weather has led to the cancellation of 59 football matches already this month. This is February, because the terrible snow was the worst winter, wasn't it? So here we've got, bad deliveries of coal. And we've talked about that in your previous bits. And about how you were sitting around, you only had 1 or 2 lumps of coal. Do you remember?
You counted. Yeah, you did really count the lumps.
You counted. You didn't put a skull cutter on.
No, you didn't.
Oh dear. So
and of course we had no electric fires then, or some people had electric fires, but electricity was still
was it?
And electric appliances were very expensive if you could get them. So there was lots of things that people had extra to coal that they could use, but that was because it was just after the war.
Yes,
they were very short supply.
So Frozen Britain here, it says, works by candlelight. Heavy snowstorms, sub-zero temperatures are combining with a serious fuel shortage to bring Britain to its economic knees. Over 4 million workers have been made idle by power cuts, and with hundreds of coal trains unable to battle their way through 20-foot-high snowdrifts, thousands of homes are without heat or light for long periods of the day.
Yes. In a way, it was rationed. Heat was rationed.
And it says a hamlet near Widdicombe in the Moor, Devon, has sent a telegram saying no bread since January the 27th, starving. Non-stop blizzards have stopped all shipping in the Channel, which is where we are here. Fishing fleets have been kept in port. And, Buckingham Palace is lit by candlelight. So are ministry offices, banks, law courts, department stores. No lifts are working in the big shops, and no shopping special trains are running. They're all very busy. So
it was a terrible, terrible winter. It was awful.
I think the only thing I can say is you weren't watching out for bombs dropping on your head, but apart from that, it wasn't very good at all, Mum.
And certainly it was jolly cold. Going to bed,
it must
had to really wrap yourself up and make sure you had plenty of bedclothes on the bed, and before you got in, that you were well wrapped up.
Now in March, Mum, 800,000 return to work as some power is restored, and what we've got here now, the town of Shrewsbury, is suffered in floods because, of course, all that
the snow melted.
Thawed.
Yes.
So now they're up to their eyes in water, poor loves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that was awful.
At the races, they've got the first photo finish camera.
Oh.
I know. So we take that for granted, don't we?
Yes.
A photo finish.
Yes.
But it was the first April 1947.
Yes.
Henry Ford died, and
yes. Yes, because cars then were coming into being, made. Many more people had cars then.
Oh, yes. He was 83, Mum. He revolutionised modern transport with his mass-produced Model T car.
Yes.
He died by candlelight during a power cut caused by floods in Detroit. So obviously they suffered in similar ways.
Yes.
His factories built 31 million vehicles and made fortunes for investors.
Yes.
He paid high wages to his workers, viewing them as customers to be. And he just recently handed it over to his grandson, Henry Ford II, who's 29. Now we've got Dior, Mum, Hourglass. Did you ever
Christian Dior?
Oh, yes. Sensational new look. It's the hourglass shape and use of yards of material.
Yes, because then clothes were beginning to come off coupons.
Yes.
And there was more material being made.
It says, despite the limits on production of non-utility clothing, manufacturers have nonetheless plunged into maximum production to meet the demand. One store sold 700 suits in 2 weeks. But we've got this new material, corduroy, rayon, and another man-made fibres. And the car tax, we've got a car tax now, and the government have said they plan a flat rate car tax of £10 a year.
Yeah.
So, Eros returns to Piccadilly Circus. Yeah.
Yes,
and
because that was part of a day out often, just to, Yes, to go out into the West End.
Oh, righty-ho. Yeah, food rations are cut as crisis deepens. So we're still bad with the food.
Yes.
The long-expected engagement of Princess Elizabeth to Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten. Yeah, all around Buckingham Palace there were crowds, thousands strong, standing under umbrellas and cheering the young couple.
Yes, because that was the year they were married, wasn't it? 47.
Was it? So she got engaged in July.
I think the Queen got married in November.
Did she?
Yes.
November? No, nothing here. December. December, Mum. December.
Yes, I knew it was late in the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's see. Princess Elizabeth. Oh no, you're right. November the 20th. November the 20th. Princess Elizabeth, the heir presumptive to the throne, was married today in a glittering ceremony. Oh. That's lovely. The crowds, many of whom had slept out overnight, were 50 deep along the Mall and down Whitehall.
Yes, that was a big, a lovely thing after the war.
After all of that. Yes. So, you're right. November the 20th, Mum.
Yes.
And in December, I'll tell you what was a big hit in the songs. Maybe it's because
I'm a Londoner. Yes.
That I love London town.
Yes. Oh, that was sung everywhere. It was lovely.
Well, that was the hit of 1947.
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love London town. And then I've forgotten.
I did it, yeah. And Benjamin Britten, talking about music, he's at the keyboard in his home, Aldenborough, Suffolk. England has found an opera composer of the first rank in Benjamin Britten. His opera, Peter Grimes, the tragic story of a mad Suffolk fisherman repeated at Covent Garden the immense acclaim it won at Sadler's Wells in 1945.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Sadler's Wells, my goodness,
yes.
the times that Dad and I.
Oh, you went to Sadler's Wells. Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Nice memories.
After Dad came back from the Air Force, then, of course, the war had been over then, and just before you were born, but that was the place to go. That was the place to go because that was local for us.
Of course it was. Yes, local, wasn't it?
Mm.
So here we are, January 48. So we'll do that next time. Yes. I think Dad will be home by then, won't he?
Yes, that's right. He came home, I think, during the March, April.
Oh, righty home. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yes. So that will have been your 2 years done.
Yes.
But they sound like very meagre years.
Yes, they were, because rationing was, as you see, all sorts of other things were happening.
Yeah.
The power cuts and all that made things very as difficult almost as were during the war.
We look forward to Dad coming home, and we'll start 1948 next week.
Lovely.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye then.
Yes, bye-bye.
Right. Ready. Yeah.